us to send it to.
All right. Now we're really in business. Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you so much. All right. Thank you. We're on to our county clerk's office. One of the groups that the people of this county have the most contact with.
Well,
and with this, let me introduce our county clerk, who will introduce her team.
good evening. Thank you very much, Budget and Finance Committee Chair, Councilman Cooper, members of the Budget and Finance Committee, and members of the Metropolitan Council. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you and for all that you do on behalf of our great city. I'm Brenda Wynn, Davidson County Clerk, and joining me today from the staff of the County Clerk's office, to my far left is Mike Taylor. Next to me, Mike Taylor is our Chief Deputy for Motor Vehicle Services. Next to me is Joey Workman, our Chief Deputy for Administration, and to my right is Tammy Drake, Director of Business Services. We've got a few other members of our staff in the gallery, and I'll give a shout out to Janice and Gabby who are back there. I want to open by providing an update on our activities in the Davidson County Clerk's office. Over the last year, we have seen an increased demand across all of our service areas. Overall, we saw an increase of 2% in the number of motor vehicle transactions processed by the county clerk's office. Now, you might say that 2% doesn't sound like a whole awful lot, but when you think that that 2% represents almost 13,000 more motor vehicle transactions for us, that's a fairly large number. The number of notary applications are up 32.5%. We went from 8,865 in 2015 to 11,759 in 2016. Our business licenses are up by about 7%. We also continue to see modest increases in demand for marriage licenses, passport services, and boat applications. Based on the growth we're seeing, we are projecting an increase of approximately 20% or an additional $1.2 million in the fees and commissions collected by our office, and that's money that we collect and turn over to Metro. Our greatest challenge continues to be managing the foot traffic in our main office and at many of our branches. This year, the County Clerk's Office is requesting improvements to our 2018 operating budget in the amount of $199,700 to add 4 additional staff at the South Branch precinct. Now, I want to provide a little bit of background about why we're asking for 4 additional staff at South. As the population in Southeast Davidson County increased, so did the number of requests for services at our South Precinct branch, resulting in large crowds in the lobby and creating a potential safety hazard. In an attempt to address the overcrowding issue, the South Precinct branch was converted to an express location in 2013. So bottom line, the only transactions, motor vehicle transactions, that we provide at the South Precinct branch are registration renewals and renewals of disabled placards. That's compared to more complex services such as duplicate titles, processing motor vehicle titles, transferring plates, or issuing temporary tags offered at all of our other branches. We recently learned of the availability of some additional space at South Precinct, and with the help of General Services and at an estimated cost of about $10,000, we understand that the building improvements will allow us to restore all of our services back at the South Precinct branch. We estimate that restoring all those motor vehicle services back at South will result in about a 27% increase in transactions at that location. There are currently 2 full-time equivalents and 2 part-time equivalents stationed at South. It should be noted that in 2012 and previous years, as many as 5 full-time equivalents were used at peak times, and the waiting environment was still so overcrowded that a potential fire hazard existed. To achieve adequate and efficient throughput and to maintain a safe, acceptable waiting period and environment, at least 6 full-time equivalents and 2 part-time equivalents will need to be stationed at South Precinct when full services are returned. We're partnering with the Nashville Public Library to add kiosks at several of their locations where citizens can easily and conveniently renew their motor vehicle registrations. And with the support of the Departments of Finance, Law, Information Technology, and Purchasing, we hope to soon be able to launch the initiative with the kiosk and announce the locations. I want to give a shout out to citizens who utilize our online renewal and mail services, and I want to encourage others to take advantage of this and to let you know that it's safe, economical, and it's time saving. You know, you don't have to get in the car to come to the clerk's office. I want to thank you again for the opportunity I have to serve the citizens of this great county and to address you here. And as always, I want to close my comments by acknowledging our great staff and thanking them for all that they do to serve the citizens of Davidson County. If you'd like, I'd like to answer any questions you might have now.
Thank you. Council Lady Sharon Hertz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any questions, but I have had some experience with your staff from getting a passport to making sure that members of my sorority have license tags because they have specialty tags, and our national office was unable to get us our membership stickers in the timely fashion for many of them, and your staff has been outstanding in accommodating them. They just asked me to write a letter, and they've handled it from that point on. And I got my passport, I know, in record time, and I just want to thank you and your staff for the outstanding job that you're doing.
Thank you, Council Lady. We appreciate that. And again, I tell people that the folks in the county clerk's office are some of the hardest working people that I know. I mean, we open our doors at 8 o'clock, and when we open our doors, people are lined up outside the door waiting to come in. I have some pictures in my notebook of one day where we opened up at 8 o'clock and folks were lined up, again, to get inside, and we served our last customer that day at 4:47. We closed at 4:30, but we served our last customer at 4:47. So, thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Councilman Hastings.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and also to the awesome Brenda, who I have big heart for. But I just wanted to put in, I heard about you spoke about the kiosks. Are they other locations besides the library to where there are kiosks going into play? Because I actually go to the police precinct to do the renewals and all of that stuff. And great ladies that are there. And I know your smile and how you cheer and all of that good stuff. But it can get kind of time consuming. It all depends on who and what they're doing at that location. And the reason I asked about the kiosks is because, as you know, it saves time. And if there's other locations that you're looking to put those things in, and if you don't have an answer right now, that may be something that we need to look at for the future, especially during the budget, to see how we can help out with that process.
Like the Register of Deeds office, we also have access to computer fund fees, and so we've used those fees to purchase the kiosks that we will add at certain locations. We will actually think strategically after this year about where we might want to add more. And I'll say our North Precinct, which is where I'm sure you're referring to, it's probably our least utilized facility, but I have made the commitment to never, ever offer that place up to be closed. Now, we operated with 2 FTEs. There was a time when we tried to do it with 1 full-time equivalent and 2 part-times, but at any rate, what I will commit to you is that we will evaluate whether or not adding a kiosk there will help move people in and out a lot quicker.
Thank you, Councilman. Council Lady Dowell.
Thank you. I think he touched upon one of the questions I had, because we are really scrutinizing the budget this year, and I know everybody comes every year asking for more FTEs, and I think we have a wonderful opportunity with Metro, just kind of, this is my 6th year now. There's a lot of ways we can automate a lot of processes. I do recognize that there are some areas we can't. But I want to touch upon, like, the possibility of expanding and having more of the satellite offices. I know you mentioned they cut down services out at Southeast. I'm wondering, and then about the kiosk. If you could talk about, you said you get some computer fund fees that cover the cost of those. I personally don't understand why it takes so long and why the lines are so long, because some of the transactions to me seem like they can be automated. I think about your industry kind of like banking. I know there's some that requires a person, but I see a lot of it like renewing the driver's license. It seems like some of those transactions could be done a lot more efficiently and maybe using some type of automation.
Well, and let me try to respond to parts of your question. I believe that we could probably get people in and out a lot more efficiently by encouraging them, as I did tonight, to take care of our online and mail renewal services. Typically, if you process your renewal within, say, if you process it today online, you will typically have your renewal back in 2 to 3 days. We make it a point to try to process that work in a very timely fashion. You can go online, process your mail renewal, and we will mail you your renewal notice very quickly. As with the kiosk, when we had it operating, because we've actually taken it offline right now to do some things that have to do with making sure we're in compliance with respect to processing credit card applications and the like, or credit cards and the like. But if we can get people to take advantage of that mail and online renewal service, it will make it a lot easier. There are some things that it requires a body to do, and processing a title requires a person to review the application, to make sure that signatures are correct and in the right place, to make sure that whiteout hadn't been used on the title. As I left the office today, there was a guy there standing there explaining to the woman he was selling a car to that he didn't realize he couldn't put whiteout on his title. Well, it's something that you can't do. And so that's why we have to have humans processing these things, so that, if there are state laws that are not being followed, we can point out to people what it is they need to do in order to make the process work.
What efforts are you making to get people to use the online, like as far as, what are you doing on that? Is there any opportunity to offer like a $5 discount if you use the online version versus coming in? I just think we should be leaning toward more people using it. I would be interested in seeing some numbers, if you have it, how many people are actually taking advantage of. If you have some numbers to show, like, you process X amount of whatever and you had 40% that did it online, I would be interested in seeing where those numbers are for that.
I can absolutely get you those numbers, and we can see how they've increased over the years. I started out when I was elected to this office, going to neighborhood meetings, going to community meetings, promoting online and mail renewal services, talking about how efficient they were, talking about how quickly you could get your renewal back. And some people just choose to come into the office. I saw a gentleman in our office one day, and I was just utterly blown away that he would take the time to walk in and renew. But it's just what some people just decide they do it that way.
Yeah, I see a lot of opportunity to get out in the community. Also, you mentioned we have libraries everywhere where we have computer modules there. There may be an opportunity to put like a little informational booth there, but I think we should really get to the point where we're directing everybody toward online and fewer people doing in-person transactions unless it's absolutely necessary. But, renewing license and things like that, where I know now I got mine, it's time to renew. I can go and take a picture with my iPad and it said I could send it in and renew it. Or to one of the kiosks and renew it versus coming in, standing in line. But I do think that we need a plan, some type of strategic plan. And we had to do this when I worked in banking, when I was working in the banking industry, and we went with the ATM. People were not inclined to use the ATM, but we recognized the staffing costs with employees, and so we had to continue to divert them there to the point where we almost penalize you if you went to a teller. We charge you a fee to go to the teller and use it. So I just, I would like to see those numbers and see, like, from year to year how we're directing more people toward using those online resources. And thank you. I appreciate the wonderful work that you do.
Yeah, and let me just say that I don't have the authority to offer a discount or credit. In fact, Talia would probably get on to me if I started offering up Metro's fees and commissions. So having the ability to offer an incentive is not something that I can do. But what I can say to people, again, is that it's safe, it's economical, and it's time-saving. And there's no value that we can put on our time.
Right. I think maybe that's something we can explore, because ideally, I think we should get to where we're directing people toward those online resources, because they're people I hear in my district, they want to save money. They're tired of paying a lot of taxes, and they don't have it. And so we need to look at how we can take advantage of that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Venery.
Thank you very much. I am anticipating some capital improvement requests as it relates to the Madison location.
Yes, we offered that up this year. We asked for improvements at the old Madison Library.
Great. If all goes well, will you also be needing any personnel adjustments at that location?
No, we won't. Actually, we operate that facility right now with 4.5 FTE, and it tends to work. I mean, there are times when we get there at the beginning of the day, typically people are lined up outside the door, and that's at most of our sites. But with the 4.5 that we have there, we can get people in and out fairly quickly.
Good. Well, I look forward to the other conversation. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. Councilman Coleman.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wynn. I think your staff does a great job. I always enjoy coming down. I am one of those people that like to walk into. It's just something about talking to people at the counter. But I just want to ask one question. Did I understand you to say, maybe I didn't get it right, that you are requesting 4 more employees?
For FTEs to operate our South Precinct branch at full capacity.
Okay, and that's the South Precinct.
South Precinct.
Is that going to be new, or you're not talking about the Southeast?
We're talking at the South Police Precinct where we operate right now. We have 2 full-time equivalents there, 2 part-time equivalents. We have identified space at that facility that will allow us to add 4 additional windows.
So you mean South Harding, on Harding, the
Yes.
South Precinct?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I wasn't sure. I wanted to, because we have a new police precinct coming up, and I wasn't sure if you were talking about that one, but okay. So that's good. That's going to be there. So that's the reason you would need the 4 employees.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but other than that, if you weren't making that request for South, you can get along with what you have now.
I'm probably going to need to add some staff at South, whatever we do. What we've noticed that even though we've gone to a lesser operations there, and not by a less convenient operations.
Right. Can you tell me the value of what that would cost us to have 4 employees? Although I'm enjoying it being South because that's where we are, but for the sake of, at the end of this, cutting down on what we really need, do you know the value of that?
Do I know the value of
Adding 4 employees? Will they be full-time, part-time, and what would it cost us?
4 full-time equivalents will cost us $199,700.
And is that something that the mayor had in her budget
Yes,
request
sir.
for us?
Yes, we did get that recommended in our budget.
Okay. And will there be any equipment needed to go along with this?
We will need equipment, but that comes through IT and our internal service fees that we pay through.
Right. And of course, that will make service a lot more convenient for the people in that particular area.
It would mean that they don't have to come to the Howard office building, or that they don't have to go to Green Hills, or that they don't have to go to Hermitage. They will have within that particular area the ability to go to the South Police Precinct and process their title applications, process their temporary operating permit applications, and other motor vehicle services that we don't currently provide at South.
Right. And we do have a driving, I guess, motor vehicle operation operated by the Department of Safety in Hickory Hollow. Does that have anything to do with that connection?
No, sir.
It doesn't?
No,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. I think you're doing a great job, and I'm really glad that we'll have the improvements at the South Precinct, along with the number of staff that we need. I think they get people out pretty quickly. I wish the hours were extended a little bit, but I guess that's something you have to deal with countywide. But overall, I think your office does a wonderful job of getting people in and out. And thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. Council-Lady Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Cooper. Clerk Wynn.
Yes, ma'am.
And everyone in your office, you all do a tremendous job. I want to say that first and foremost, because you know I have come down there most recently for several issues, and I mean, I have gotten the best service. And I just commend you all for the incredible amount of work that you're doing in your office. My question is from last year's budget. I'm trying to recall, I think that there was plans to expand in the Southeast Davidson County with an additional site. And I did not know if with the 9th precinct that'll be coming online that currently Chief Anderson is working to put in place. Have there been discussions with your office as to potentially having an office like you do at the South Precinct in that new precinct?
We have not had discussions with the police about the ability to locate in a facility that they might be constructing. And we're open to operating and partnering with any metro department as they open new facilities in other parts of the county where we can actually have our services there in the community and serve individuals who need and want to, and who have to come by for our services.
Well, one of the things I would like for you to proactively do and consider is getting in early conversations with Chief Anderson, because one of the things that we as Southeast Council members have asked is that he locate the precinct somewhere along the main corridor of Murfreesboro Road, because that's the highest ridership corridor within our area. And two, I think that it would be more accessible, given that all 4 council members in that area, myself, Councilwoman Venery, Councilwoman Dowell, Councilman Coleman, all would share that precinct. And so I think that would give us a greater opportunity to service all of our constituents in our area. Instead of it being pocketed in one particular council district, it could be accessed by multiple council districts. So I would like for consideration. I think that was in the last budget as some, I don't know if it was ideas to look at down the line or something. I don't recall exactly what was on last year's budget, but I think it was looking at a potential site in our area.
I don't recall that we were looking at any budget increases last year, but one of the things that we know is that we've got to do something in the southeast part of the county, again, because when services operated at full capacity at the South Police Precinct, traffic would back up out onto Harding Road. The parking in that area was not sufficient for the number of people who would show up there to be served. We had gone to lining people up in the community room, and that's just how bad things had gotten. Our belief now is that if we can add 4 additional staff people out there, that we can move people in and out a lot more efficiently. So that's why we want to add the 4 staff members there at South. And if there's an opportunity for us to grow there or to grow with the Metro Police Department in other areas, we absolutely want to do that.
Well, thank you for your consideration. And again, I appreciate all of the work that you and the entire office does to serve the citizens of our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady. And seeing no one else in the queue, it's always a treat to have our clerk's office here, but we should move on to the Human Resources and Benefit Board. We're running a little bit late, but everybody has a lot to say, and thank you.